Hey everyone, we're going to take your seats. We're going to start the meeting here. Good morning. I'm Alec Farmer, Chairman of the Arkansas State Highway Commission. This is the October 2nd business meeting of the Arkansas State Highway Commission, and today it's a pleasure to be conducting our meeting from my hometown of Jonesboro, Arkansas, and my alma mater of Arkansas State University. So, thank you. I'd like to welcome our guests joining us and those who may be watching via live stream. We're trying something a little different today. For over 10 years, the Highway Commission has held its regular business meetings at RDOT's central office in Little Rock. The Commission decided earlier this year that while we routinely have groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings, public hearings, other presentations around the state, it'd be good for the commissioners, for RDOT, and the community and regions we serve to have one of our regular business meetings out around the state at least once every other year to highlight projects and other items important to the particular regions of the state. The commissioners graciously decided that the outgoing chairman, which is me, should choose the meeting location. So here we are in Northeast Arkansas. I want to thank my fellow commissioners and our RDOT staff for their extra efforts in taking our show on the road. I know this wasn't an easy thing to do. And I don't say it enough to our staff, but we have a remarkable department from top to bottom. You know, they're on call 24/7, 365 days a year. Rain, ice, tornado, COVID, you name it, our highway system never closes. And I think people lose sight of that sometimes. I also want to thank the City of Jonesboro and Craighead County, the Jonesboro Chamber of Commerce, East Arkansas Good Roads, and Arkansas State University for your cooperative friendly spirit and welcoming my fellow commissioners in RDOT to Northeast Arkansas. Our staff did a little research and determined that there have only been 2 previous Highway Commission meetings in Jonesboro since 1978, so it's definitely time we had another one up here. Before I begin the meeting, there are a few officials and guests I'd like to recognize. We have our Congressman from the 1st Congressional District, Rick Crawford, who will make some comments in a little bit. We'll get further into the agenda. Just about the Congressman real quick. He's been instrumental in getting designation for I-555 triple nickel up here, for Interstate 57, and he's continued support for US 412, just to name a few of the projects he's been involved in. And he's in line to become the next chairman of the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, so we're all excited about that. We also have quite a few other officials here. If I miss somebody, I apologize. I'm going to try to read everybody's name. We have is Jonesboro Mayor Harold Copenhaver? Did he make it?
Right behind you.
All right. Welcome. Thank you. Paragould Mayor Josh Agee. Greene County Judge Rusty McMillan. Let's see here. We've got State Representative Joey Carr. We have, I know I saw John Milligan in here, State Representative John Milligan. And Kenneth Jones, Mayor Kenneth Jones from Brooklyn. And someone I served with, we both got elected to the Jonesboro City Council 20 years ago. He's still on there, I didn't make it. City Councilman John Street has been a huge advocate for infrastructure, served on the local MPO here for a number of years. And then we have several staff members from Congressman Crawford's office, Senator Bozeman and Senator Cotton. So we welcome all of you to be here. And then we have Craighead County Judge Marvin Day, who wanted to say a few words on behalf of the County of Craighead and the City of Jonesboro, welcoming us. Judge Day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me go to the microphone or just use my big mouth right here. Thank you.
Turn the mic on when you get up there. We want to capture this for perpetuity.
We have an aptitude test, and I guess I passed. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming and making this big effort to come to Craighead County, and we just want to welcome you. We're so glad that you came up yesterday and got a wonderful tour of Nucor, and we're so excited that, as they say, a rising tide lifts all boats, and we're all really pulling hard together. And I want you to know, as a community, you know, I'm proud to see my friends from Greene County here. Glad that you get to see some of Mississippi County, but we all pull together, and that's part of our little secret of how we get things done. And I think y'all know that. You kind of, it was mentioned about I-555 and a little group called East Arkansas Good Roads. If you really go deep into that, you understand that was from folks from Newport to Poinsett County, Mississippi County, Greene County, that all pulled together and supported Congressman Crawford and the Highway Department's efforts in improving interstates in our area, which has been a game changer. Just also a few things to highlight about our community while you're here. I think you may have gotten a little gift bag. Did you get a little care package from the chamber?
Yeah.
Everything that you got in that bag was made right here in our town. That's a big deal to us. You know, world's largest rice mill. You can get your Suave shampoo, your Post cereal, and all those great things. And we are proud of our industrial base, and you've been a huge partner in making that happen. I want to kind of wrap up with, you know, the movie The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I want to talk about the good, bad, and the beautiful. And really one of the great things that y'all have done as a commission and as a staff, you've been a tremendous partner to all the cities and counties through your partnering projects, your bridge programs, the 70-15-15 split of the tax revenue. That is huge for these folks. Former Mayor Milligan, Mayor Jones over here can tell you such great stories about what you did for small towns, and were able to let them pave a road that they haven't been able to afford to pave in a long time. That's been a great partnership. Please, as you go forward, please remember us little guys. We want to be here to help you in everything. The bad. You guys remember last night I got up in the middle of our dinner and went outside. Got a call from a friend. Told him I'd say something about it. His two daughters were in a car wreck at the intersection of Highway 35 and 18. It is a great road that was built, widened a 5-lane road, moving traffic from Jonesboro to Blytheville. And they had a wreck. Both those girls are in great shape, but in Le Bonheur Hospital. As an engineer, we design things. As you guys know, I'm an engineer just like most of you. We design things based on what human nature does and how you see things and kind of those design parameters. I just really, at my gut, feel that we're missing something as a profession on some of these roads. Cars are going faster, things are changing. And I encourage my son that's a junior in college. He called last night and I said, what's your class today? And he goes, well, I'm going to traffic and we're talking about this. And I sent him pictures of it and I said, take this to your professor and ask him to think about it, study it. And I would really kind of ask for you guys to put that on your thoughts of, we see a lot of, you know, Jared's going to talk about some projects later, and a lot of the things that we're focusing on are these traffic problems that we have where a road's been widened, speeds are up, and we're just seeing some concerns with some accidents. So really ask for the bad, ask that y'all spend some time as a staff thinking about how we can improve some of that rural road safety. Now for the beautiful. Lori Tudor, you have been a beautiful director, have done a wonderful job. There is a great injustice that the legislature has got to I'm tongue-in-cheek on legislature fix. How can a lady in her mid-40s be able to retire? I don't understand that. You know, she's done such a great job, and y'all are, because of your rules, you're making her leave. And we don't know when it is, but it's too soon. Lori, you've been wonderful to work with. I couldn't not say that on behalf of Mayor Perrin, and that's how I got to meet you way before I ever had to stand in this role. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your leadership.
A couple other things. Former Mayor Harold Perrin is here today. Welcome. He was always a good friend of the department when he was there in the office. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about the cookies. But I talked to someone last night, someone else was going to bring them, so I popped them. Next time I will.
Okay. Thank you.
And let me just say this real quick. It's been over 4 years now since I had my bout with cancer. And you don't know how much it meant to me to receive that Goodwill Ambassador plaque, which is still hanging very proudly in my office. Not having you do it, okay? But I just want to say thank you so much. That meant a whole lot to me in a time when I needed that. And I appreciate that very much. And God's been good to me and blessed me, and he has you all with me. So I'll keep you all in my prayers.
Thank you. And then finally, I'd like to recognize a visitor from out of state, from Poplar Bluff, who's leading the local efforts in Missouri, working with federal, state, and local officials up there for the I-57 designation. Bill Robinson, appreciate you being here. Recently, a month or 2 months ago, we went up to Poplar Bluff, and the governor of Missouri, Governor Parsons, signed a $150 million bill for improvements to I-57 from Poplar Bluff to the Arkansas state line. So we're going to keep applying pressure to each other and keep this project moving. But I appreciate you being here and your support. All right, now that we've completed all the formalities here, it's time we turn our attention to the reason we're here, the regular business meeting of the Arkansas State Highway Commission. So to begin things today, well, I want to remind everybody, if you're speaking, which I'm terrible about remembering this myself, turn on your microphone so everybody who can hear in the room and watching via live stream. As has been our regular practice since COVID, I'd entertain a motion to use electronic signatures for the signing of the minute orders.
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Looks like we're ready for the minutes of the August 7th and September 18th meetings. So that's the first order, is the approval of the minutes from those two meetings. Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we've taken care of that. Moving on to the minute orders. If you have any questions or comments about the minute orders, please ask to be recognized, and we'll stop and get that addressed. With that, I'll ask Dave Parker, our Public Information Officer, to begin reading the minute orders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minute Order 1, as always, simply calls for the approval of the actions of the Purchasing Committee. Minute Order 2, this minute order asks for authorization to submit the Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, better known as the STIP, for federal fiscal years 2025 through 2028 to the Federal Highway Administration and the Federal Transit Administration for approval, and to publish the STIP for distribution after approval by the federal agencies.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on that one, I just want to recognize it's such a small minute order for so many months and years of work that go into the STIP, and just thank the staff so much for doing such a great job again on our STIP. So proud of the projects we have in there and the work that went in with community leaders and stakeholders and our staff and everyone and the public had their opinions to put in this project and this document. It's amazing every year. Thank you so much for that.
Lori, would you just briefly explain what the STIP is and why it's important?
Well, it's twofold. It's a requirement by the Federal Highway Administration that we prepare this document at least every 3 years, but we do it every 2 years. And we do that so that we can keep the projects current and moving forward to get them ready for contract. So it's a requirement, but it's also our plan moving into the future, how we're going to spend our federal funding and our state funding. We have evolved the STIP into being more than just a federal document with federal projects. It includes all of our projects, no matter how they're funded, for the next 4 years, so that everyone knows what to expect. And these projects are scheduled, they're funded, and it gives everyone in the state a handbook to see what's coming. So it's a very important document. I think it's probably the most important document we do at RDOT. So.
Thank you.
Continuing on, Minute Order 3. This minute order requests approval to proceed with the award of the Transportation-Related Research and Workforce Development Grant Program. Projects included in that as recommended. Minute Order 4, Pulaski County, District 6. This minute order simply declares a tract of land as surplus. The same with minute order 5 in District 9, Boone County. Ask for approval to declare a certain piece of land as surplus. Minute order 6, we move to Crittenden County. This is an improvement project. This minute order asks for authorization to partner with TDOT, Tennessee Department of Transportation, for the design, construction, and future maintenance of replacing the existing Interstate 55 bridge as funds become available. Minute order 7, we stay here in Craighead County, District 10. This minute order calls for approval to start a pilot program in Jonesboro, 5-year pilot program to use TrainFo technology to enhance the safety at railroad crossings and proceed with improvements at selected crossings. Minute order 8, this minute order calls for renaming a portion of U.S. Highway 67 from Interstate 40 in North Little Rock to U.S. Highway 412 in Walnut Ridge as Interstate 57.
Just want to stop you there, and at this point, I'd like to recognize Congressman Crawford, if you'd like to. This is a big deal, folks, for this area. Oh, did he? Okay. We'll hold for the congressman.
Can you tell us more about the TrainFo, how that works?
You know, I was just going to say while we're waiting, I might talk about that a minute. The city of Jonesboro came to us and asked us to do a pilot project here in Jonesboro with this new technology, which is eligible for 100% federal aid railroad crossing funds. And it's really an intelligent system that's able to, with algorithms, I can't even say that, and everything that goes on to predict when there's going to be oh, here he's back, but it's going to be able to predict delays at railroad crossings, blockages for future, to help.
Future planning.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks. Congressman? We're just talking about designating I-57. I thought you might want to, yeah, please do, yeah.
Well, thank you all for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit of time with you today, particularly on this topic. You know, we always refer to US 67 as the interstate. We take the interstate to Little Rock. It's really not an interstate, but it is now, I-57. That's important. This matters to folks who not only live here, but for folks who don't live here when we're talking about economic development. Most economic developers or businesses that come to a community, they want to know that they have interstate access. And so now we can tell them they do have interstate access. What they don't want to hear is, well, we've got a road that's really good, you know. Well, it actually is an interstate that makes a difference from an economic development perspective. So that's really, really important. You know, obviously a few little technical things that we can address. You know, there's farm traffic. We experienced that on 555. Those are, you know, we've set a precedent to be able to address those kinds of things that don't create an impediment for interstate designation. So that's really, really important, but can't say enough about the work that's gone into this. And it's really important to note that this I-57 corridor creates an alternate route for northbound traffic that will take an awful lot of pressure off of I-40. So from a technical perspective, what that means is we're putting less pressure on I-40. And I can tell you this, that and most everybody in this room would probably agree with this. I don't think there's been a time in my life that I-40 was not under construction. And it's because of the volume of traffic between Memphis and Little Rock as sort of the convergence of I-40 and I-30, and that corridor continues east. But it's growing pains. It's part of the process of continuing economic development. And so this is I think a great step in providing a little relief to an alternate route going north and creating that connectivity from Dallas to Chicago or however you want to look at it. this is a great step in that direction. It's going to do an awful lot to create more economic development on that corridor in Northeast Arkansas. And we thank you all for doing that. Thank you for the leadership from our chairman, Alec Farmer, who's done a fantastic job. And let me just add my 2 cents on Lori. I hate to see you leave, and I can't imagine you're leaving at this early age, but, it's your journey. So I look forward to, continuing to work with the RDOT and the commission, but Lori, you'll be sorely missed, and we've enjoyed working with you as well. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
I just want to add to that, a couple other reasons for the designation, in my opinion, and Congressman Crawford covered two of them, the economic benefits and the fact that it does relieve pressure on I-40. It also, 67 was built 122 miles as an interstate highway for all intents and purposes. And it didn't seem to make sense to waste an asset like that the last 40 miles. So it became important to go ahead and finish out what generations ahead of us had started. And the other thing that became painfully obvious is you can't have enough interstate crossings at the Mississippi River, as we found out a few years ago when I-40 was closed for 3 months. So those Mississippi River crossings on an interstate are worth their weight in gold, really. and we need to take advantage of them when we have them. Moving on to, I think that's all.
I have one final minute order, Chairman. Mr. Chairman, minute order 9, again, here in Craighead County, it asks for authorization to adopt the I-555 triple nickel corridor study for use as a planning guide for future improvements. And that is it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. One point of clarification here, everybody talks about Lori leaving. She's mandatory, has to leave next August, sometime in August, so some people are saying their early goodbyes. But moving on, it's now time to hear our financial report, so I'd ask Chief Financial Officer Patrick Patton to come forward and present us with the financial report for the state highway system.
Good morning. Thanks for having us here. I'll briefly go over the financial report for August of 2024. The first slide you see, we track our expenses by budget category. For those that have not seen one of our presentations before, we do it by budget category and operational category. The first slide you'll see is August versus August, or budget versus actual of August. Right now, all of our budgets are tracking as they should. We've got some that higher, some are lower, but out of the first 2 months, that's to be expected, because to look at the budget, when you smooth it, you're going to have some renewals of whether it be software, whether it be capital purchases. You're going to have those when you start the new year. So right now, we feel good about it. We're 12.2 million under budget, or about 36%. When you slice the pie a different way, like I mentioned just a minute ago, this is the operational categories. We have maintenance, operations, admin, and budgeted construction categories that we try to track internally. If you look at all of them, they're tracking, the same way. There'll be some times that they'll be high, sometimes they'll be low. But once again, it's tracking the budgeted versus actual expenses and the timing of the expenses that we have. So right now, once again, it's the same number, 12.2 million under budget and 36%. The next slide will actually look at August versus August of actual revenue for our main operating fund. As you can see, pretty much everything's flat. Amendment 101, which is our half-cent sales tax that went permanent into our operational fund in July of 23, it's up about 2.5 million. I hadn't been able to say that in a year. So happy to say that's up. Registrations are down a little bit, but once again, that's timing. You can't, people will buy cars at different times. So Those registrations are down and the rest is fairly flat. So overall, if you look at August versus August of last year, we're about $200,000 ahead of last year at this time. If you look at budgeted versus actual expenditures or revenue, everything's flat, same type thing. Amendment 101's up, registration's down a little bit. Natural gas severance, if you've watched any of our previous meetings, we've always been saying it's down, it's down, it's down. We've finally got conservative enough to where we're hoping that we can track it fairly closely. So natural gas severance, I think for the first time in I can remember, it's even with what we budgeted. One other thing that I'd like to point out, and I'd like to thank everybody at RDOT that's involved in the budgetary process. I think this is the first time, at least in my 7 years, that we've been able to say budgeted versus actual revenue is even. So we hit the nail on the head on the budgeted versus actual at $124 million. That just proves that we have a good process that we go through. If you look at Act 416 revenue, which that is our, there's a 4 cent, 6 cent diesel, 4 cent motor fuel, 6 cent diesel tax. There's a electric hybrid registration fee with that, and then there's a casino tax. Right now it's flat. As we've said before, I've said, before we get our casino tax at the end of the year, it's June 30th. There's $35 million that we will receive for that. These funds are used for preservation. If you look at the next slide, this is the budgeted versus actual for August. Same numbers, exact same story. We're $400,000 above what we budgeted, or 3.7%. Moving to fuel consumption, which is one of our biggest revenue sources, motor fuel taxes. So we track the fuel consumption in a couple of ways. Right now, August over August, so same time period last year, we're 11 million gallons ahead of where we were last year at this time for gas, almost 1 million for diesel. So overall, we're about 12 million gallons, above where we were last year at this time. The last slide I have is a 12-month over 12-month comparison of the gallons consumed. As you can see, we're up on every category still consistently, and so overall it's 2% above year over year, or 45.8 million gallons. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Patrick. All right, I'll go ahead and turn the rest of the meeting over to Director Tudor.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Next, we have Kevin Thornton, our Chief of Administration, to give you an update on federal and state legislative activities.
Thank you, Director Tudor. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'd like to start off today with an update on the November 5th election. At the federal level, neither of our senators are up for re-election. However, all 4 of Arkansas seats in the U.S. House are in the election, and all 4 have at least 2 people vying for those positions. At the state level, 18 Senate seats are involved in the election, and in the House, all 100 seats are involved in the election. We do know that there will be 5 first-time legislators in the House. Looking to the leadership at the state level, Representative Brian Evans has been elected as the next Speaker, and Senator Bart Hester has been elected as the Senate President Pro Tem. Of course, Representative Evans will have to be ratified by the new House members, and Senator Hester will need to be ratified by the new Senate members. And you see the schedule for the 2025 sessions on the screen now. And as you can see, the budget hearings for the 2025 session begin in just 6 days. Our budget hearing will be on October the 24th, beginning at 9 a.m. Then on November 15, pre-filing of bills and resolutions can begin. The general session will begin at noon on January 13, And you can see the other various deadlines for bills and constitutional amendments. The last scheduled day of the session is March 14th. However, the legislature can extend that session if they feel the need to. And now, turning your attention to recent developments with our federal funding. Federal fiscal year 2024 ended just a couple of days ago. We are now in 2025. Now, if this next part sounds as if you've heard it before, it's because you have. Congress and the President were not able to reach an agreement on the appropriations bill for 2025. And the same thing has happened many times. In fact, a little research showed me that in the nearly 5 decades of the current system of appropriating and spending tax dollars, all that time it's been in place, Congress has passed all of the required appropriations bill, which I think there are 12 of them. They've passed all of them on time, and that's only happened 4 times during that 50 years. The last time it happened was 1997. So Congress turned to a continuing resolution, or CR, to keep government running. The CR passed by Congress and signed by the President lasts until December the 20th. Congress will have to return to Washington after the election to work to pass the appropriations bill for 2025, or we will need another CR. Since we have the CR in place, federal funds will continue to flow, which means our work, including the construction projects, will continue uninterrupted. We will be watching the developments in Washington closely, and we will keep you informed. Director Tudor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions?
Thank you, Kevin.
Next, we'll have Crystal Woods, our Assistant Chief of Administration, give you an update on the efficiency review and how we're doing on implementing the recommendations.
Good morning. As most of you know, the Highway Commission Review and Advisory Subcommittee met on September 17th and were provided an update on our continuing efforts to implement the 13 recommendations from the Arkansas Legislative Council Efficiency Study. The meeting went well, and the members of the subcommittee seemed pleased with our progress. In fact, the Director of the Office of Internal Audit, Ricky Quattlebaum, expressed confidence in us to complete the implementation of the remaining rules without further oversight from his office. The subcommittee responded to Mr. Quattlebaum's recommendation, saying that they would research the rules and vote at their next meeting. This is good news, and we certainly appreciate their confidence in us. Of course, we will continue our implementation efforts and continue reporting our progress regularly to you. So today, I'll be sharing 2 of the most noteworthy examples of progress we made in the months of August and September 2024. Recommendation number 6 under the procurement category said that we should implement construction contractor performance measurement. As we've discussed in the past, 7 projects were selected for a pilot application of the draft manual, which establishes how each performance metric will be used to evaluate prime contractors. All 7 of those projects are now complete, and final evaluation forms for all 7 have been reviewed and accepted by both the contractor and RDOT. Internal discussions are now underway to determine if any final adjustments are needed, but we're very close to completing the implementation of this recommendation. Recommendation number 7, under the expenditures category, said that we should implement project and portfolio management frameworks. On the construction side, efforts are underway to enhance our current construction project documentation software and to develop online forms to be used by our staff to document construction project activities. On the maintenance side, we're in the process of developing and implementing a new maintenance management system, and training for the initial phase of the rollout is now underway. So at this time, 5 of the 13 recommendations have now been fully implemented, and 67 of the 90 rules are now considered complete. That's a 74% completion rate and a 3% increase since your last commission meeting. You may notice on this slide that we have also completed recommendation number 4. That's the one that pertains to Ask RDOT. We have a more in-depth update on that recommendation, which will be presented by Dave Parker and Holly Butler next. So before Dave and Holly take the podium, are there any questions for me?
Thank you, Crystal.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Ask RDOT is a fantastic tool. It's going very well, but it's only 1 year old, so knock on wood, year 2 is even better. A quick timeline of how we got here. In November of 20, the Arkansas Legislative Council, the ALC, reviewed and approved the recommendations that we, RDOT, had presented to the Highway Commission and Advisory Subcommittee, HCRAS. Fast forward about 6 months, that's when we really started working. The communication staff began building this customer portal that would be later known as Ask RDOT. Over the next several months, we held many, many meetings, introductory meetings, and above all else, a lot of training for the staff, just getting them acclimated to what it was, how to use it, that sort of thing. Almost 300 personnel within RDOT had to be trained on how to use this new tool. During this time, we also asked for and got a lot of feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly, to quote an earlier moment, and use that feedback to keep building the system. Then in February of 23, RDOT had to do its soft launch. We had to start practicing internally to make sure our own employees knew how to use it before it went public. That was in February of 23. And now here we are, exactly 1 year from when Ask RDOT launched. October 2nd of 2023, it launched after 6 months of testing, making sure internally we had it down right before we offered it to the public. And today we're here celebrating that 1 year anniversary, if you will. You know, through all of this, the main thing that we kept reminding ourselves about was it's for the customer, the public. We work for the citizens of Arkansas. We had to make it a very good customer service experience. They had to be able to access it easily. It had to be something that they could feel comfortable with, get results in a timely manner, and certainly, above all else, hold us accountable. That was one of the main things. So here we are in year 2, and we're continuing to build awareness. This thing is only a year old. Continuing to build awareness. We thought a good way to start off year 2 was to create a new instructional video for those of you who haven't seen how it works. So here it is.
Got questions about a highway or interstate? Whether you have questions or just need to report a concern, Ask RDOT makes it easy. Here's how it works. Go to rdot.gov and click the Contact Us tab. There, you'll see a link to Ask RDOT. Next, log in. Having a profile allows us to communicate back and forth with you about your request. And you can keep track of all your inquiries there. We don't send you unnecessary emails, and your information is not shared. Once you're logged in, submit your inquiry. Choose from a drop-down list of categories. Choosing the right category is important because it will route your question to the right person. Once you've submitted your inquiry, you'll get an email confirmation with a tracking number, which you can use to check on the status of your question. Ask RDOT allows you to communicate back and forth as necessary until your inquiry is answered. Serving the citizens of Arkansas is a top priority for RDOT. It's exactly why we created Ask RDOT. By having an account, you'll have the option to take a survey once your inquiry is closed. We want to hear from you on how you think we can make the process better. We've already received some great feedback. With Ask RDOT, we hope your customer service experience is quick, easy, and helpful.
As my wife would say, if I could figure it out, anyone could figure it out. So it's a very easy customer service portal. The main part of this, along with just figuring out how to work it, was training our own staff. That was a huge lift, introducing them to it, getting them comfortable with it, letting them know about the work it would involve and that sort of thing, the training. Here to talk more about that is Holly Butler, our communications coordinator. She was in charge of all that.
Thank you, Dave. So I'm going to give you a brief description on the data and the reports we're able to pull in the system. It is one of the largest benefits we have because the results are in real time. So the data we're pulling is live. As you can see on the screen, we're over 14,000 inquiries total in the system. That averages approximately 770 inquiries received each month. Those inquiries do date back to that February 2023 date that Parker previously mentioned. We're also very pleased with the improvements that we've made in our response time. In the last 30 days, I'm happy to report that our response time is less than 3 days. That's the time that our staff is responding to the customer once they submit that inquiry into the system. Our reports are scheduled. They're sent out monthly to RDOT management. This allows us to monitor and identify open tickets or where additional training or improvements might be needed. Also previously mentioned in the video is a survey that the customer can take once their inquiry is closed. On your screen, you'll see, again, some of those survey results that we've received. We've received a total of 179 surveys. So far, we're very pleased with the results that we've gotten back. Of course, as Dave mentioned, we received the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we take it all and we do the best we can with it. Of course, customer service, again, is our top priority. Our customer service experience is established, and we are also happy to report that we're at 94% success rate with our customer service. And Crystal mentioned in September, RDOT did a presentation and for the HCRAS committee, and Representative Carr gave us a positive feedback, and so with his permission, we're able to share that with you today.
Representative Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if anyone has used that. I have. It's effective. It's efficient. It's a useful tool. I have probably submitted at least a dozen. What it is people call me and say, pothole here, or this needs to be fixed there. And I really want to give them the link. I have shared the link with some, but I thought it's just easier if I do it myself. It takes about 40 seconds to set up your account. It's easy, it's user-friendly, and I have received a reply email that what I have submitted has been put into a work order, if not that afternoon, typically within 24 hours. So good job on this. I think it's a great tool. I'm telling you right now, if you guys haven't done it yet, you need to get on there and experiment with it. It's a great tool.
Thank you, Representative Carr, for allowing us to share that today. We have considered this recommendation to be complete, but that doesn't mean we're stopping here. We will continue to receive feedback from the public and our staff to make any changes to the system that, again, really addresses that customer service experience that we're trying to provide. When you signed in today, you received a handout about Ask RDOT. We have extras if you'd like to take some with you. And just thank you for allowing Parker and I the time to present on this. And if anyone has any questions at this time, we're available to answer those. Yes.
I'd just like to add, that's a great tool for commissioners. I'm sure y'all are just like I am. You get a lot of calls. It's not all about, when you're going to build this highway out here a bit. There's a lot of questions that, about just incidental things. And I put it on there and it makes you look smart, and I need all the help I can get. But it's really a good tool for commissioners.
Thank you for using it.
Great job, y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori, while we're talking about the efficiency study, and kind of hand in hand with that was the Inspector General's review of the department.
Yes.
Did they make a request or recommendation recently?
That's right. What happened was when the efficiency review was finalized and the recommendations and our response to how we were going to implement those recommendations came out, they included in there to have the Office of Inspector General, is that right? Anyway, the statewide auditors that do all the other state agencies. We have our own internal audit shop, but this was an outside audit that was coming in and making sure that we were doing what we said we were doing on these implementation of these recommendations, and they have been auditing us now for 2 years, and they want to stop doing it. They feel like it's a wasted effort because they see that we are doing what we say we're going to do, and we do have our own audit shop within RDOT, which is well structured and reports directly to the commission. So you are always being informed of what's going on at RDOT. And so that hopefully that'll happen, because when you're audited so much, we're audited by a lot of different agencies. And that was just one additional audit, and we're hopeful that if that's removed, we're going to continue to do all we can to implement these rules, but it'll free them up and free us up as well.
You said what I was going to say. We're probably the most audited state agency there is, and we federal highways on down. So
yeah, yes, that's
okay.
true.
Good news. Thank you.
All right, now Kelly Wiley, our Assistant Chief Engineer, Program Delivery, will talk about projects that we've led to contract since your last meeting.
Thank you, Director Tudor. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Since your August meeting, we have held one successful bid letting last month in September. This letting was highlighted by the award of the next phase of future Interstate 57, the Corning Bypass, as well as a number of bridge replacement, widening, and safety improvement projects. With one final project awarded in September, we have officially wrapped up the department's 2024 pavement preservation program, which awarded 80 projects totaling $394 million and will provide improvements to almost 700 miles of state highways. In the September letting, we awarded 21 projects for a total of $169.2 million. These projects included 21 highway and 2 county projects. There were 49 bids submitted from 33 different contractors. As I previously mentioned, the first project I'd like to discuss is a project that will construct the next section of future Interstate 57 in Clay County. This work consists of constructing 4 miles of 4-lane divided highway that will bypass Corning to the north side of town and will tie into the existing Highway 67. We look forward to kicking off the construction of this project, this much anticipated project, with the groundbreaking ceremony next month. Work on this project should be completed and open to traffic by summer of 2027.
Could I just interject there?
Yes, sir.
One of the reasons this project was picked first, if those of you who've kept up with the location sighting of 57 north of Walnut Ridge where it dead ends at 412, there were different alternative routes that had to be selected, but all 3 of the alternative routes came back to a single point, being where it's located there on the south side on 67, west of Corning. So we knew whatever route was picked, it was going to end up at that location. So we were able to go ahead and start that process and get that project started first. So just in case anybody was curious.
Thank you. The next project I would like to highlight takes us south into Greene County. This project will widen a little over 2 miles of Highway 49 on the north side of Paragould, and will widen that stretch of highway from 2 to 4 lanes with a center turn lane. Lane closures will be prohibited from around noon to 7 p.m. daily in an effort to minimize traffic impacts while the construction is ongoing. and these improvements should be completed by spring of 2027. And the last two projects that I want to discuss are safety improvement projects to install cable median barriers on 3 different highways in the state. The project on your left will install almost 32 miles of cable median barrier on select sections of highways 100 and 167 from North Little Rock to Fordyce. The project on your right will install over 13 miles of cable median barrier between Camden and El Dorado on Highway 7. Cable median barriers are one of the 28 countermeasures identified in FHWA's Proven Safety Countermeasure Initiative. They have been effective in significantly reducing the severity and frequency of crossover median crashes on multi-lane divided highways. To date, the department has installed over 700 miles of cable median barrier, and these projects will begin filling in the remaining gaps on different divided highways throughout the state. These improvements should be completed in 2026. Looking ahead, we plan to open bids for the continued construction of future Interstate 49 from Highway 22 to Gun Club Road next week in our special October 9th letting. Following this, we currently have 31 projects totaling approximately $162 million in our November 6th letting, which will officially kick off our 2025 pavement preservation program. This concludes my report, Director Tudor.
All right, thank you,
Kelly, I have a
Kelly.
question.
Yes, sir.
Somebody asked me this the other day, and I didn't have the answer. These cable median barriers, what does it cost, let's say on an interstate, a typical interstate, what would you estimate a mile, those cost per mile to build?
Over the past several years, we've seen it range anywhere from about $250,000 a mile upwards to about $350,000 a mile over the last couple of years. Yes, sir.
This gentleman far overestimated. He said he'd heard it was $1 million a mile, and I said, I think that's a little high, but.
Yes,
so,
sir. It's not quite there.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
And it can be reset, right, Kelly? Like, I mean, some accidents I know crash them, and that's the point, they catch a vehicle.
Right.
But then, we do have some accidents or problems with them where they can actually go back and reset them and continue to use them, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Our district maintenance forces and our statewide maintenance forces do have replacement parts, which are the posts and some other parts and pieces to repair that cable median barrier when it is hit. They can get out to that and repair those fairly quickly.
Yeah, I just personal testimony here. I just want to attest to the benefit of those. My wife was probably going to be in a head-on collision a few years ago on Interstate 55 coming back from Memphis, and 18-wheeler was in the median, and those cable barriers stopped that. So
Yes, sir.
they're the real deal.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Next, we have our Chief Engineer of Operations, Rex Fines, to give you an update on our maintenance activities.
Good morning. Thank you, Director, Mr. Chairman, Commission. This morning in our maintenance activity update, I'd like to focus on a few different areas that in the world of maintenance, mowing and litter removal and mowing and litter removal and bridge operations. And as an Arkansas State grad, I'd like to add that it's good to be back where everybody understands my dialect. Many people believe or see our job at mowing is for really to make the side of the roads look better, but that's just a side benefit of what we do. It's primary reason for safety. When we mow that, we keep vegetation down, we maintain visibility at intersections, we maintain sight distance and curves, we prevent animals from getting too close to the roadway. We prevent if a car pulls over on the slope. We get grass fires if the grass isn't mowed. So there's that's the primary reason we do it is for safety, but it also helps, it makes it look good. And as we're ending the year, the grass growing part of the year, we are entering into our third mowing cycle from now till Thanksgiving. So you'll see a lot of mowing out there. RDOT mows 275,000 acres each year, when you include all 3 cycles. About 45% of that is through contract mowing, and then our own forces mow the remainder. And so far this year, RDOT maintenance crews have logged 122,000 crew hours mowing and 68,000 crew hours picking up litter. We've collected over 19,000 cubic yards of litter, and that does not include our contract efforts. So, Mayor Perrin, I believe we have an idea where you can help us out on some work. So. This year, we will spend about $5 million in litter removal alone, so, yeah. Next, I would like to focus on our bridge operations, and we have talked about this a few times in these updates, but there's a special reason we want to highlight it today that I'll bring up and show you in a minute. But just as a brief reminder, this crew came up from a brainstorming session between Chairman Farmer and former District Engineer Brad Smithy. We were having a lot of issues with smaller bridges. We were going to have to either close them or post them really low, which was going to affect the community around them. It was going to make things, if we didn't come up with a solution, we were going to have a lot of issues. So in that brainstorming session, they came up with the idea of putting a crew together to quickly come in and replace these small bridges with box culverts or other smaller bridge work. And out of that, we started that in 21. It's been very successful. Since we began doing this, we have replaced 11 old bridges and box culverts with rehabilitated bridges, and our crews are scheduled to complete 6 more this year, 6 more box culverts this year, and 5 precast bridges. Over a 5-year period, this is a total of 34 bridges that have been replaced or rehabilitated with brand new decks and kept in service. So we estimate that this crew has saved the department over 70% compared to contracting the full replacement of the bridges or boxes. For the 23 bridges completed so far, RDOT crews performed work at a total of $14 million contracted. A contract bridge replacement for these was estimated at $52 million. So using the in-house crews, we've saved about $38 million so far. Also, we have taken a lot of time off. The crews are completing the work in significantly less time than an average bridge replacement contract. A typical project like these would be 2 to 3 years from inception to completion, and these, on average, are taking about 6 months. So it knocks a lot of time off of those. So now we are to the reason they wanted to highlight this crew once again. We've got a short video. Did I skip something, Director? No, I did. They want to show you. Recently we have, I'm not lost. RDOT received an award, Arkansas Transportation Award for a job project on Highway 28 bridge rehabilitation project with state forces. In August, the director and the staff were presented with the SASTO annual conference we held in Rogers, very successful, and here's a short video highlighting the award.
Welcome to the SASTO Region's America's Transportation Awards presentation ceremony. Each day, people in every community nationwide rely on transportation to get them where they need and want to be. That's why state departments of transportation around the country are focusing on making our transportation network safer and easier to use for all travelers, regardless of how they choose to get to their destinations. Now, for the 17th year in a row, AASHTO, AAA, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce have joined forces to celebrate those projects that have had tremendous impacts on their communities. These projects significantly bolster safety, improve mobility, and enhance resources for drivers, transit users, bicyclists, pedestrians, and rail networks nationwide. In the Operations Excellence category, Small Project Group, the winner is Arkansas DOT's Highway 28 Bridge Rehabilitation with State Forces. Arkansas DOT has more than 2,000 precast concrete channel beam bridges, accounting for more than 16% of the state's total bridges. 5 such bridges are on one stretch of Highway 28 in Yell County, Arkansas. As these bridges age, they deteriorate, reducing load capacity and sometimes requiring closures. RDOT's Bridge Operations Division, with its new bridge building crew, removed the deteriorated channel beams, modified the existing foundations, placed new channel beams on the structures, applied a polymer overlay, and reopened them to traffic in a very short time frame. By completing this project in-house, RDOT significantly shortened the highway closure time. This approach reduced costs from $15 million to under $2 million, allowing savings to fund other projects. The efficient work restored normal traffic flow, benefiting local residents and the economy.
So again, I want to thank the commission for allowing us to do that. You see, it's making a huge difference. That concludes my report.
Rex, I'm just going to ask a couple questions.
Okay.
The thing that makes that so beneficial is a lot of these bridges are out in rural areas, and it's hard to get good bids from the private sector because of the mobilization cost and everything. So is that kind of the big savings?
That's part of it. These bridges, a lot of times, are in good shape on the substructure. The foundation is sound. It's just the decks need to be replaced, and so that's where a huge part of our savings comes from. We don't have to replace the whole thing, and so it is very effective in rural areas.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Rex,
Yes, sir.
First of all, congratulations on that award.
Thank you.
That's a big deal. I really want to congratulate you and your entire operations crew on that. We really like the results that you're getting from the state forces doing the work, and all those benefits that you've explained. More of that is very welcome. So congratulations and continue the good work. I also wanted to go back and highlight this mowing and litter removal. That's a lot of hours you're putting in, and it's resulting in a lot of benefits too. I get some comments on that, and I've traveled around recently and seen how much work's going on in the mowing and litter removal. Wish we didn't have in the state that much litter to remove, but we do. And you guys are doing a great job at helping beautify Arkansas, so thank you for all that.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations to your crew.
And thank you. I mean, Steve Frisbee, Andy Nanaman really have made this, the bridge operations work. I'm reporting. I'm showing you what they've done, and our maintenance crews do an outstanding job of, that's a thankless job many times.
Well, it may be thankless, but I'll tell you, when the people of Arkansas know about it, they're very grateful for that kind of efficiency. It just shows you're really trying to work to make the best of the tax dollars that we're so grateful for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you.
Just another example of how much you have helped RDOT become more efficient, Chairman Farmer, with your great ideas.
It's
and
kind of a
your-
necessity when you have 60% of the bridges that are deficient are in your area.
But this is just an example of how we just want to continue to get better and better, and I hope once you are off the commission, you'll be commission emeritus, and we'll still try to pick your brain on good ideas in the future.
I think I've had all the good ideas. but sure, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's one of the best things, and the commission had to allow us to increase our budget to be able to do that. But and you have all just been so supportive of any effort that we've tried to do to become more efficient. So thank you all. You get to hold some of the the thanks for where we're at today. It's been great. So recent department activities, we cut project and looking forward to other partnering projects. You know, in Jonesboro, you'll find out here in a minute, this is where partnering began. Back in the day, I forget how long ago that was, but a long, long time ago, before anyone even knew that term, Jonesboro was doing that.
Jonesboro did the Metropolitan Area Transportation, MATA, wasn't it called MATA?
Yeah.
In 1994, early 90s.
Yes. So we're speaking to the choir right here about this, but this was a great partnering project and a good tool to help get these projects done. Arkansas Good Roads Annual Policy Event, we held that in Mountain Home this year. It was our third annual event. The first one we held in Fort Smith. The second one we held here in Jonesboro. And then we held the third one this year in Mountain Home. We had a great turnout. We had a really good policy discussion. But one of the best things, and I see Lance back there in the back, is they took us out on a field trip. And Nucor Yamato was great yesterday, but it was equal with that. We got to go out and watch some things get blown up. So I'll show you that here in a minute. We went out and we got to look at their quarry and get the tour. Lance was so kind to do that day. And they set up a dynamite blast and they let me push the buttons. And I had to use both my index fingers at the same time, so I had to use my best coordination skills. But I pulled it off, so here's a video of that. I couldn't get over that. I still can't when I see that. That's what goes into getting the materials to build these roads. I'm telling you, whoever said highway construction was boring is wrong about that. So we got to see asphalt. We got to see an asphalt plant. We got to see that operation at the quarries where they make the rocks to put in the asphalt and for other reasons. But it was a great day, and our good friend Lance and Atlas Asphalt, they're such a wonderful contractor here in the state of Arkansas, along with so many others, but great support from them. Had a great meeting, talked about all kinds of things. One of the biggest things we talked about was Highway 412. Chairman brought a great presentation on how we fund projects, and you want everything done all at once, but it takes time, and you did such a great job on explaining that to the north central Arkansas region. Just really a good event. They just seem to be getting better and better. Don't y'all agree? Each one we have seems to get a little better. So next year, I don't know where that's going to be, but it should be fabulous. The Arkansas County Judges Association, Chairman Farmer, spoke at that event. Their annual conference was held here in Jonesboro, and they invited him. And I guess, were you the keynote speaker, Chairman?
Was I the keynote speaker, Marvin?
We'll go with that.
Okay, that's it.
I thought
Yes,
so. I
I
thought you were. Anyway, it was a great day because that was deemed the Alec Farmer Day. That
Friday the 13th.
It was a proclamation that made August 13th Alec Farmer Day in Craighead County. Is that for in perpetuity, forever, or was that just that one day?
Every Friday the 13th.
Every Friday.
I love it. Well, we'll get your Freddy mask and get you going.
Yeah, with friends like that.
Yeah. No, very well deserved.
Thank you.
You have
Appreciate
just, as we go through the rest of this meeting, I just think us as the staff at RDOT can't say enough about you and your leadership. From the time you became a commissioner through your chairmanship, you have been a pleasure and joy to work with, and I want all of your friends and family and people you know here in Jonesboro to know what a great asset you've been to the commission and to RDOT, because we're better because of you. So thank you. This is really cool. The RDOT Maintenance Supervisor Conference. Is this our third annual? We bring in all our maintenance forces at Lake DeGray. They have a great venue there, and a lot of state agencies use that for their conferences and other things like that. They have a off time, not during state time, but they do a barbecue cook-off, and the best district wins. I think District 9 won this year. Last year I got to attend, and I got to be a judge, which was a lot of fun. And this year I wasn't able to attend, but we had the judges in District 9. What was it? District 9 won first place, District 3 did second place, and District 10 won third place. Anyway, it's just a great time for all of these maintenance employees to get together and share best practices, get to know each other. You know, we have 10 districts across the state, and before we started doing this, they might not know who their counterparts were in the other districts. We come together, we talk about safety, we talk about things that are important to our wonderful maintenance employees, and like we've been talking earlier, they do such a phenomenal job for the state of Arkansas, but they are unsung heroes. Their jobs do largely go unnoticed. And this conference, not only do we talk about things that are important to them, but it's also a way of showing them our appreciation. So, great event. I don't know who came up with the idea of doing these conferences. Was it you, Steve, or Steve Frisbee? He's in the back. He's got a lot of good ideas, too. I'm going to get you and Chairman Farmer always together. But really, really good. You know, we're in a day and time when it's really hard to recruit and retain employees. As a state agency, we'll never be able to pay the way other private industry pays, but we can create a sense of mission, a sense of coming together to do something bigger than ourselves, and a sense of camaraderie, and this helps with that. So we appreciate having these, being allowed to do these kinds of things for our employees. Next, I've asked, we're going to have an update on all the great Northeast Arkansas projects that Chairman Farmer had a hand in over the last 10 years, and will continue through 2028, because we just passed that step in your projects that you advocated.
You're going to have to watch a couple of these guys.
There's honor among thieves. They won't touch your projects. Just don't let Philip, he's always looking for money.
Unless it's a pilot program, then it goes on for 5 years.
Thank you, Director. As all of you know, Chairman Farmer's time on the commission has been marked by 10 years of thoughtful leadership and substantial progress to our state's transportation infrastructure. And this morning, I want to share some milestones that we've achieved during his tenure. The progress made on numerous major corridors, updates on some local projects, and talk about how his willingness to partner with others has made significant impacts on Northeast Arkansas transportation. So Chairman Farmer was Governor Asa Hutchinson's first appointment to the Highway Commission. When he came on board in January of 2015, RDOT was in the beginning of two of our two largest construction projects we've ever undertaken: the second Interstate Rehabilitation Program and the Connecting Arkansas Program. Commissioner Farmer hit the ground running and provided wise counsel as the Commission and RDOT was successful in delivering these two huge programs that improved over 520 miles for $3.3 billion through 84 projects. And although these two large voter-approved programs were already delivering in a big way for the citizens of Arkansas, Chairman Farmer began his term while the department was talking about managing the decline of our system. Sustainable sources of state revenue had been a long-standing issue at the department. And while other state revenue was indexed to inflation, our revenues remained flat. Combining that with the fuel efficiency improvements over those years, and our problem was growing. the department was facing the real possibility of having to turn back federal funding for the lack of state match. So just a few months after Chairman Farmer's appointment to the commission, he was appointed to the governor's working group on highway funding, where he and other leaders worked to improve the state of transportation funding and consequently the condition of our highway system, county roads, and city streets across the state. The governor's working group identified the need for short, mid, and long-range annual funding for the department and infrastructure as a whole, and their work was a catalyst for the governor's long-term highway funding plan that was presented to the legislature in 2019. It was so important that the legislature took this up first, and in early 2019, early in the session, Act 416 was enacted that made available $95 million in immediate funding for RDOT to use to take care of existing highways and bridges. The second component of that program, or that plan, involved a constitutional amendment to make that half-cent sales tax that funded the CAP program permanent and to establish a permanent source of revenue that was indexed to inflation. So if we fast forward to last July, we began receiving that half-cent sales tax permanently, and we're able to stand up the Renew Arkansas Highway program that we promised the voters back in 2020. This program is well on its way to addressing needs of over half of our highway system mileage, pavement needs for that, replacing and repairing more than 1,000 bridges, and addressing capital and capacity needs all across the state. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, so I won't go into a lot of detail, but during Chairman Farmer's tenure, we made a lot of progress on big, impactful corridors around the state, and one of those corridors is Interstate 555. Just want to thank him for his advocacy and leadership, and Congressman Crawford for helping us get this done. Without their work and support, we wouldn't be there today. And you've heard about Future 57 a little bit today. U.S. Congress identified this route north of Interstate 40 as a future interstate in 2017. Shortly after that, we put up Future Interstate 57 signs along that route. Our staff's been working this summer to conduct public involvement meetings in preparation for the full signage of Interstate 57 along this corridor. We've received positive feedback, and so with the approval of the minute order this morning, our staff will start to coordinate with Federal Highways and continue that coordination with state and local partners. And we expect to see those red, white, and blue interstate signs up on the entire piece in blue over the next few years. So it's a big deal. And continuing northward, we heard a little bit about this as well. Chairman Farmer's guidance and influence has led us to make a considerable amount of progress on closing that gap on future Interstate 57 between Walnut Ridge and the Missouri state line. Our staff has been hard at work for several years trying to determine the best route to take as we close that 40-mile segment. We've conducted studies, developed cost estimates, evaluated impacts, and conducted numerous public meetings that aided us in selecting the preferred alignment that you see on the screen for the Interstate 57 corridor. The Renew Arkansas Highways program that I mentioned earlier dedicated $180 million to this corridor, and although we estimate the remaining construction cost to be $700 to $800 million, we're already making good progress. Through the work of Senator Bozeman and Representative Crawford, we've received an additional $17.4 million in federal funding, and in the 2025 appropriations request, there is $6.7 million additional included for this corridor, so we thank them as well for that support. They're hard at work in D.C., and we always appreciate their efforts to fund projects all across the state. As Kelly mentioned earlier, and you see it up there on the screen, the Corning Bypass was awarded a contract last month. This is the first project that will progress that construction to get us from Walnut Ridge up to the state line. We've also secured funding for the piece north of Corning to the state line. We're working with Missouri to deliver that project and meet them there at the line. And additional funding is included in the STIP that was approved today for right-of-way acquisition for the piece south of Corning down to Walnut Ridge. So, Chairman Farmer, I want to thank you for your leadership and vision on this corridor. Without it, we would not have gotten this far. in such short time. Since speaking of that vision, several years ago, Alec came and shared his vision of connecting Interstates 55, 555, and future Interstate 57 with a U.S. numbered highway. He felt that a continuous U.S. highway connecting future Interstate 57 through the growing Northeast Arkansas region over to Memphis would be beneficial to our state and the region. In the summer of '23, we received resolutions supporting this dual designation of various highways as US 78 from the cities of Black Oak, Blytheville, Cache, Jonesboro, Lake City, and Craighead and Mississippi counties. In November, the American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials approved the extension that you see on the screen that brought that highway from Memphis, Tennessee, up through Northeast Arkansas, all the way over to Interstate 57. Today, US 78 is signed concurrently along portions of Interstate 55, Interstate 555, US 49, Highways 18, 18 Spur, and Highway 226. The vision of connecting Northeast Arkansas and Interstate 57 to the Memphis metro area has been achieved. Highway 18 makes up much of the mileage of that newly designated Highway 78 route. This east-west highway connects the cities of Jonesboro and Blytheville. This connection facilitates the movement of raw materials and finished products from industries located all along this busy corridor. The department has awarded 23 projects over the years, covering approximately 60 miles at a cost of nearly $300 million to complete the widening of this route. And in November 2021, you'll see the picture there. I remember that was a windy day in Manila.
Yes, it was.
We celebrated the completion of that corridor. And speaking of other major corridors, as most of us in the room know, US Highway 49 is an important regional connector. Of course, it extends outside the Northeast Arkansas region, but in the region, it connects Interstate 40 and Highway 62 through the heart of Northeast Arkansas. And this corridor has seen considerable growth over the years. We met with Mayor Jones of Brooklyn yesterday talking about growth in his city. In this particular slide, I want to draw attention to the work we're doing on 49 between Paragould and Marmaduke. That route has been congested of late, and we're working to tackle that. 3 projects on your screen, 1 completed, 1 now under construction, and 1 coming will address those needs and widen this corridor to five lanes. In addition to these projects, we completed a roundabout last year in Marmaduke at 34 and 49 that's helping improve mobility and relieve some congestion there. All in all, these projects span 11 miles and will at a construction cost of over $100 million. Chairman Farmer also has been an advocate for the 412 corridor, as you heard earlier today. We've seen substantial progress on 412 over the last decade, including an expenditure of over $500 million on the corridor. This map on your screen shows the status of the widening of the corridor today. So in black, you'll see 2-lane segments. In yellow, 3-lane. You'll see 4-lane in green, 5-lane in blue. But I want to get down to this. Approximately half of this 292-mile corridor has already been widened to 4 lanes. So we're making some good progress. Another 36 miles includes passing lanes. Now, our long-range goal remains to 4-lane this entire corridor, but in the interim, through the Renew Arkansas Highways program, we have committed to building passing lanes on this segment to improve mobility and increase safety. The STIP that was just approved includes $110 million for nearly 20 miles of passing lanes over the next 4 years. Lots of good things happening in the region. This map shows the work that we've completed. Now, this is completed work in blue over the last 10 years. And those total $2 billion worth of projects covering 2,600 miles in Northeast Arkansas. In red, you'll see we have 62 projects under construction that cover another 130 miles. And in green, about 140 more projects coming for about $700 million over the next several years. So a lot of progress still to come.
That's your report card, Chairman. Right there, 10 years of work, right there.
That's right. And in addition to those projects, I want to talk quickly about planning studies. Our staff works hard to study the needs across the state, but we pulled out some data for Northeast Arkansas since we're in Jonesboro today. Just in Northeast Arkansas alone, we've completed 11 planning studies in the last 10 years. And these studies have led to several improvement projects that are already underway or under development. And a couple of our most recently adopted studies, like the Osceola Industrial Access Connection Study and the Jonesboro South and West Connection Study, will inform future transportation development in the region long after the commission or the chairman has left the commission. A total of 12 studies in the region have been initiated as well. There's some overlap between the two, but there are several more studies that will be ongoing for the next few years. These studies set the course for projects like the one you see on the screen here. This Highway 351 project was awarded this summer. It will widen 351 between Highway 49 and Pleasant View, and will do some intersection improvement work at the 49 intersection shown on the screen. We expect this project to be complete in 2027. And then next summer, we'll take bids on the piece just off the screen from Pleasant View to Peachtree and widen another half mile of Highway 351. This project will widen 3 miles of Highway 1 south of Interstate 555 to 5 lanes with sidewalks. Atlas Asphalt has been chosen as our construction manager, general contractor for this project, the first in the region. And we expect it to go to construction in 2026 and take about 3 years to complete. And we heard about partnership earlier. Chairman Farmer's embraced partnership throughout his time at the department. Wanted to highlight this special partnership with the city of Jonesboro. I think a major highlight for the department at the time was this partnership. Jonesboro came and brought $7.8 million to help us fund 11 projects throughout the city. At that time, it was unprecedented. In addition to that commitment, the city agreed to take over ownership of Highway 226 and Highway 141. So you see the projects there on the screen that were part of that partnership that was forged years ago. Today, 7 of those projects are complete, 2 are under construction, and the last 2 will be let to contract next year. The 2 that are under construction are the Martin Luther King Jr. extension you see on the right of the screen. We expect that to be complete in 2026. That project will relieve some of the congestion on Highway 49 through town when complete. And the Highway 351 Railroad Overpass project will be complete next year. The remaining 2 projects from this original partnership will widen Highway 1B to 5 lanes for a half mile just south of Parker Road, and we'll do some intersection improvements there at Highway 49 and Parker Road as you enter Jonesboro from the southwest. The city and Arkansas State University also partner with us to help fund the new connector between Highway 49 and 351 you see on the screen. In this, the city, under Mayor Copenhager's leadership, committed $1 million for the project, and the school will donate right-of-way within the project limits. We hope to take bids on this project in a few years. When complete, we'll see a more direct access from the heart of Jonesboro over to the airport. And partnerships continue. It's a great place for partnerships, as Director Tudor mentioned earlier. In Craighead County, there are 3 additional partnering projects currently in development. These projects include intersection improvements in Brooklyn and Monette, and a Highway 91 widening project from the interstate over to West Side School. These projects were made possible through a partnership between Chairman Farmer and County Judge Marvin Day. The judge has a nice bridge crew in his shop as well, and they do a lot of great work around the county. And he came to us and said, hey, I can help you guys out and replace some bridges on 230. Take that route over if you'll make some funds available for some projects in my area. So We did that, and we made $14.6 million available for these projects and others that will come in the future. We appreciate that partnership. Continuing on that partnership theme, I want to talk about just a couple more. In Osceola, Chairman Farmer was approached by the city about some improvements needed to the Highway 61 and 140 intersection to help the growing steel industry in the region. So we're partnering with them to improve that intersection to help accommodate their needs. And in Pocahontas, a new bypass will be constructed 3 miles long on the north side of the city to connect Highway 90 and 67 and eliminate multiple 90-degree curves through town that are difficult for trucks to navigate. We estimate this project will cost about $20 million, and we hope it's shovel-ready in late '26 or early '27. The city of Pocahontas is providing $1.6 million and will assume ownership of 3 highways after it's complete. And lastly, I want to highlight this partnership that we talked about briefly earlier today. This pertains to the Interstate 55 bridge between West Memphis and Memphis. It's been dubbed America's River Crossing. The commission gave us authority to partner with Tennessee to go after a grant for this project. We sought a $400 million bridge grant, and we were awarded almost $400 million by USDOT this summer. It's going to be a big help as we try to tackle that bridge at an estimated cost to replace of about $800 million to $1 billion. But we're partnering with Tennessee to make this bridge happen. This project will improve resiliency, meet modern seismic codes, enhance connectivity, and economic vitality along this tremendously important freight corridor. And again, this one wouldn't have been possible without that partnership. So, Chairman Farmer, I want to just, mention that each of these projects and initiatives that I've talked about today are a direct product of your leadership and advocacy. And I want to thank you for sharing your talents and vision with us during your tenure on the commission.
Thank you, Jared, and thanks, everybody. Lori and her staff have made me look better than I deserve many times.
Okay, I'm going to briefly go over, we sent you this legislative package to the commission. Each one of you should have seen it to have time to go over it and ask questions. So I'll just go through it quickly, but today I just need your motion to approve the staff to present this to ALC December 1st. It's codified in the law that we present RDOT's or the Highway Commission's legislative package to ALC by December 1st of each year. Now, to be clear that this is just a shell, we'll have to work through getting the bills written and getting all the language. We'll have Michelle Davenport, our chief legal counsel, as well as all the subject matter experts that we can find to make sure we craft a bill that is what it should be, and then we'll send it to you guys to review before anything is done with it. But what we plan to do, if we get approval today, is send this package of what we plan to do in the next legislative session, not only to the legislature, but also to the governor's office, so they'll know what we are planning to do and get their input. So in just real briefly, we plan to do an increased fines for a moving traffic violation in a mobile maintenance operation. Right now, the only time there's double fines in a work zone is if signs are in place that say you're in a work zone, and that means traffic violation fines are doubled. We don't put out signs for these mobile maintenance operations, but when you have a RDOT truck or a contractor truck or whoever on the side of the road doing some type of minor maintenance activity and they have lights going, there are laws, move over laws, that you need to move over and get out, to provide safety for our workers. So all this will do is we'll just increase the fines for those that don't obey the laws when it comes to our workers on the road. And then the other Next one is ensure continued use of green lights. The Arkansas Department of Emergency Management, A.J. Gary, gave us authority to put green lights on our RDOT vehicles as well as our contractor vehicles. And then something came up that made us think that the law is a little bit not as clear as we wish it would be. And so we're all on board, including the Arkansas State Police, to clean up that language a little bit so there's no question that RDOT and our contractors can use green lights on our vehicles. And that's so important because it increases the visibility. And that's what we have noticed. People don't even seem to notice amber lights or white lights anymore. These green lights really grab people's attention and make them aware that they're in the road. The inclusion of a state operation of a motor vehicle in a work zone in the Arkansas driver license study guide. We're going to call that something else because that was hard to say. But anyway, in our driver's manual, these kids are young people that are studying the driver's manual. There's nothing in there about safe operations in a work zone, and we would like to add that. That came from the contracting industry has approached us about sponsoring this legislation. We're more than glad to do that. And this, I think, will be a great addition to the driver's license manual. We're going to do some deregulation. Everybody loves that, right? Deregulate the movement of school and office trailers. Right now, the way the law is written, if you want to move a simple little office or little mobile classroom or anything like that, you have to do the same thing as if you're moving a double wide down the interstate. So we're going to clean that up a little bit and take some of the regulatory burden off these small movements. Remove the construction manager general contractor program pilot requirements. Right now, we're still under a pilot program for our construction manager general contractor alternative delivery method. It expires June 30th, 2026. Is that correct? So we need to do something this session if we're going to keep that tool in our toolbox. We'll be working closely with the contracting industry to make sure they agree with it before we craft any kind of a bill. But right now, I feel like that there's not going to be any opposition to take that from being a pilot to a permanent tool in our toolbox, with the idea that at any time, if they don't like the way the program's going, they can take that legislative authority away from us. So it's not like it's permanent, but it will allow us the flexibility to do these projects and to continue to plan for these projects in the future. We're going to modernize our statutory bonding requirements. As we were going through some different review of the law and how it is written according to how we bond our contractors and what we required, we noticed that we have some outdated language out there, and we're going to clean that up. Standardized market value determination for surplus property. We have two types of surplus property. We have right-of-way surplus property, and we have capital asset surplus property. Capital asset surplus property is when we have to buy a non-economic remnant. When we go in and buy right-of-way for projects, sometimes we go ahead and buy what we call a non-economic remnant, and these become a capital asset. We have two different ways of appraising these two types of right-of-way, the surplus property, and we're going to clean that up and only require two appraisers for wherever that right-of-way falls. Only two appraisers are needed to come up with the fair market value for that. Instead of right now, it's 2 for one and 3 for the other. 2 is plenty. It's a waste of resources, time, and money. Utility relocation. As you know, there's been ongoing discussion about our utility relocation efforts when it comes to highway construction projects. There's been an appetite at the legislature to come up with some legislation to help make that more efficient and to motivate the utility companies to move out of our right-of-way in a timely manner. we are going to craft a bill that will give us the legislative authority to require a schedule, a reasonable schedule from the utility company. And if they don't meet the schedule for any reason other than, something that outside their control, that we will be able to withhold permits for future work until those utilities are moved out of our right-of-way, and also possibly some type of civil penalty that we'll put into an account to help our smaller utilities and water associations that can't afford to move their utilities to have some a resource to find money to do that with. So we're going to be working really closely with the legislature. We'll reach out to the utility companies and to our contractors, but we feel like this may be a little bit of teeth that that will give the RDOT to get those utilities out of the way in a timely manner. We have some pretty significant delays on projects that have caused a lot of extra money for the contractor and for the department because of the length of time it has taken them to get out of the.
And I know that's a conundrum because a lot of these utility companies just don't have money laying around for a relocation project. They have to have notice too, but there's reasonable notice and reasonable period of time to respond. And
right, that's
we're
where
not dealing with the reasonable part. We're dealing with the unreasonable time, lengths of time.
They'll set their own schedule. It'll be a reasonable schedule, but that allows us to plan when to let the projects. That's been the biggest thing that we found. We think we know when the utilities are going to be out of the way. We let the project to contract, and then it doesn't happen. So this is an attempt to streamline that those procedures. And
Lori,
then, yes.
Does this include municipal-owned utilities like water project, water line, water and sewers?
We're going to work through that. We talked about that, the staff did. We're not sure yet because those are kind of different than the big utility companies that have more resources. So we're going to work through what is palatable, what is reasonable. The main we're not sure yet, but we'll keep y'all informed as we work through it. Another thing we found, a recent court case in a court ruling made us realize that the definition for denatured ethanol and how it relates to motor fuel is ambiguous in the law and not quite clear, and so we're going to clean that up in this next session, and we'll keep you informed on that. Okay, is there any questions about our legislative package? If not, Chairman, can I have a motion to submit this to the Legislative Council and to the Governor's office?
You heard staff recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, thank you. Like I said, we'll keep you up to date as we move through crafting the legislation. Upcoming events tomorrow we have a Joint Transportation Committee meeting in Fort Smith, and several of the commissioners will be there as well as myself. We're going to do a presentation on Interstate 49 to the Joint Transportation Committee of the legislature. On October 10th, I will be presenting I'll be the lunch speaker at the Conway Business Expo. October 22nd, Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce wants to hold an appreciation luncheon for the commission. October 24th is our legislative budget hearing for our appropriations bill. November 11th is the holiday, Veterans Day. November 12th, I have a PE board meeting. November 13th, we have a meeting with RDOT staff and the Union Pacific Railroad in Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to try to work out some of the problems we face is trying to get projects developed and get railroad agreements that we need to move projects forward. November 14th, the I-57 designation in Corning bypass, we want to have a ribbon, not a ribbon cutting, a groundbreaking. Now, the I-57 designation, I realize that there still may need to be some additional work done before we can actually get that in place. So we'll talk about that offline, Chairman.
Sounds good.
How you want to handle that. Retirement Board meeting, November 18th, November 20th, Good Roads annual meeting in Little Rock. We'll be at that. This is their annual big get-together. November 28th and 29th, Thanksgiving holiday, and then December 4th, you'll all be back together in Little Rock. So that's what's coming up. Other business and discussion. In 2024, let me get my notes on this because in 2024, the Federal Highway Administration presented to us an Environmental Excellence Award, but we didn't actually have the plaque or where's Vivian? Is she here?
She's not sure. Sitting back
Oh, here she is. Okay, this was an effort that we took on is in partnership with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, Arkansas Natural Heritage Commission, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and 24 volunteers, and we moved these endangered species of crawdads or crawfish, from wherever you're at in the state. We called them crawdads where I was. Anyway, we moved them to keep them safe during the construction, along with, and there were 83 of them, just 83 of them left, and they were carefully taken from where we were going to do construction and put in a safe spot. And then we also had another 176 other crayfish or crawdads that we moved of varying species out of harm's way. And you might smile at this, but it's very important that we protect the environment, not only because we're required to do it by Federal Highway and Vivian, but also because it's the right thing to do. So we have a whole division dedicated to our environmental footprint in Arkansas and making sure not only that we don't get outside federal laws, but we do the right thing for our beauty of our natural state. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, we're going to have a photo op, and we've got, we're going to call it the Crawdad Memorial Plaque. Not memorial, the honoring plaque. So here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and Director for having me here today. Since 1995, the FHWA Environmental Excellence Awards have recognized leaders across the country who make outstanding contributions to environmental stewardship and partnerships above and beyond traditional transportation project outcomes. These awardees exemplify efforts to protect and enhance environmental resources while meeting our nation's transportation needs. So for 2024, as the Director mentioned, an independent panel of judges selected the Relocating a Rare Crayfish, the Jefferson County Crayfish, project to receive this honor in the category of collaboration and partnership. So the awarded agencies are the Arkansas Department of Transportation, the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and so here today we have Maxwell Hartman representing AGFC, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Jason Haidt is here, and the Arkansas Natural Heritage Commission, and Dustin Lynch is here representing that agency. So with that, I thank you all for submitting this project, and I'm very proud and honored to be here to present the awards. Thank you.
I'll get Chairman Farmer. Okay, that's almost it, but I have one last thing.
Okay?
Mayor Copenhagen, come on down.
Okay.
Well, good morning, everybody, and Director Tudor, and commissioners, and staff of RDOT. We are blessed to have you in our community in Northeast Arkansas, and we commend you for everything in your vision. But today, I'm here to express as a personal citizen, a friend, and a member of this community to another member of this community, Mr. Alec Farmer. I want to start by thanking you for your longtime friendship, as well as your many years of service with the Arkansas Department of Transportation, as well as within the city of Jonesboro. As your remarkable tenure of chairman of the Arkansas State Highway Commission draws to a close, I want to express my deepest appreciation for your years of dedicated service to the people of Arkansas, and especially to our community, the city of Jonesboro. Your leadership, vision, and commitment have left a legacy that will benefit the community for years to come. Your influence, Alec, extends far and wide through agricultural leadership of farmer enterprises, serving on the boards of Arkansas Blue Cross and Blue Shield, E.C. Barton and Company, and Childers Gin and Elevator Company. In Jonesboro, your service throughout the years on City Water and Light Board, the Jonesboro Regional Chamber of Commerce, and the City Council are just to name a few. But you're reflecting and you're leaving an enduring commitment to making our city a better place to live and work. Alec, you are a pillar of our community. Your legacy of service, both locally and statewide, is an inspiration to many. On behalf of the city of Jonesboro, I want to thank you personally for all your service. If you would please come forward, I'd like to present you a key to the city.
And that, Chairman Farmer, concludes my report.
Well, I've got a couple of things, but let me just say, and some people may disagree, I think this has been about the best darn meeting I've ever been to. I may just skip the last one. I don't know how we're going to improve on that. But no, I've got two things I'd like to mention. First, Lori was featured in the Roadway Safety Magazine, which is the flagship publication of the American Traffic Safety Services Association. So that's a mouthful there. But one-on-one with Lori Tudor. So, national magazine. And that's not even the biggest thing. Lori is receiving the prestigious Arkansas General Contractors Skill, Integrity, and Responsibility, or SIR Award, which is their most prestigious award, I read, and not given out every year. It's just special when somebody's worthy of it. It's an award given to an individual who exemplifies values embraced by Arkansas General Contractors, has consistently demonstrated outstanding service, industry leadership, and involvement in their community. Past recipients include Congressman John Paul Hammerschmidt, U.S. Senator Del Bumpers, and 2 former highway directors. So, Lori, congratulations on that. And before I turn it over to the other commissioners to make a comment, I just want to say how proud I am to be from this community, and I think this, for the other commissioners in the future, you see what bringing this commission meetings to the communities out around the state. There's real interest in this, and I hope we continue doing it after I'm gone. So, thank you. Is there any other comments before we adjourn?
I just want to say thank you to Jonesboro, whole Northeast region, Arkansas region. We've had we always have a great experience when we come up here, and your views and values are reflected in your leaders. When the judge was talking very emotionally about an accident that had happened, we feel that, and that is the way Alec has led, always putting the people, the motorists, the users of our highway system first, and then with an eye to economic development and coordination. I mean, you just know, this, but you work so well together up here, and it's a great thing to see and be a part of. We're proud to be a part of your system up here and our whole state, so thank you.
Thank you. Dave, you want to finish this off?
Well, I have one comment. Alec, I thank you very much. This is my first term, and you have been a leader, at least for me, being on this commission, a source of a lot of information, and I, for one, will miss you being the leadership of this. Philip's got some big shoes to step into, and
He's up to it.
but we'll help him.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you personally for helping me, incoming, the freshmen, being picked on, and all of that. But you have come to my aid a number of times when I've asked you questions and stuff. You're a wealth of knowledge, and you have been exemplary on studying and advocating for what's needed, not only in this region, but the state. You're a great example of being a commissioner, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hearing nothing else, I'll entertain a motion. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for turning out today.